Factspurs presents 10 times The Simpsons predicted the future. Number 1. Donald Trump becomes president. In an episode of The Simpsons which aired 16 years ago, Bart is shown a vision of the future. In this vision, Donald Trump is elected President of the United States. As a result, America's economy crumbles and the country goes broke. According to the writer, Dan Greedy, the episode was to be a warning of what could happen in America if it were to go completely insane. Who would have guessed back then that Donald Trump would actually run for President of the United States and that he would actually win? Number 2. The Leftorium. In an episode of The Simpsons called When Flanders Failed, Homer's left-handed neighbor, Ned Flanders, was tired of all products being made for right-handed people only. Because of this, he opened a shop with items for left-handed people only. When Homer heard left-handed people complaining about products made for just right-handed people, he kept quiet about Ned's shop. In real life, a store opened in San Francisco in 2008 that made products exclusively for left-handed people. Number 3. Octomom. In an episode of The Simpsons, Apu and Manjula decided to take fertility drugs to get pregnant, and Manjula got pregnant with octuplets. Because Apu couldn't afford to take care of a family of 10, they gave their children to Larry Kidkill, the sleazy owner of the Springfield Zoo. Apu ends up being appalled when he found out that his children were the star attractions at the zoo. The episode received mixed reviews, and a journalist named Nancy Basile claimed that the story was crazy. Clearly, she did not know that in 2009, Natalie Suleiman would use IVF to have 12 embryos implanted into her uterus, and she gave birth to 8 of them, earning her the name Octomom. Number 4. The plane crash which killed members of the Brazilian soccer team. Tragedy struck when a plane crashed carrying several members of a Brazilian soccer team. While it is something nobody could have ever seen coming, The Simpsons actually predicted it. In an episode that aired years ago, Mr. Burns is working with a man when the Division of Labor come crashing in like ninjas and accuse Mr. Burns of hiring an illegal immigrant. He claims that the employee is American. Next, a female agent accuses Mr. Burns of having a missing Brazilian soccer team working in his reactor core, and he claimed that it was strange because their plane crashed on his property. This is just another one of the strange and eerie times The Simpsons have predicted the future. Number 5. The Bloody Billboard. In a 1992 episode of The Simpsons, the show's famous cartoon characters Itchy and Scratchy finally starred in their own movie. To promote the movie, a billboard was made with a giant Itchy cutting off a giant Scratchy's head with an axe, and fake blood started squirting out on a married couple walking by. Jump forward to 2004, when Quentin Tarantino was promoting his film Kill Bill in New Zealand. There was a billboard on a busy street which featured Uma Thurman, the lead actress in the film. On the billboard, she was swinging a samurai sword, and red paint that looked like blood dripped off her sword onto cars passing by below. Number 6. The All-You-Can-Eat Buffet. On a Simpsons episode titled New Kid on the Block, Homer visits an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet called the Flying Dutchman. After eating at the buffet for hours, Homer is kicked out. Homer gets so angry that he is not allowed to eat all he can eat, he decides to sue the restaurant. In real life, a man named Bill Wist went to a seafood restaurant called Chuck's Place. They too were an all-you-can-eat restaurant. After Bill ate 12 fish, the restaurant complained that they were running out of fish. They gave the man 8 more fish and told him that they would not charge him for his meal if he would leave. He was not satisfied with the offer, and he called the police. He also picketed outside of the restaurant, stating that the all-you-can-eat offer was a false advertisement. Unfortunately, he was soon arrested for disorderly conduct. Number 7. The Lunch Mats. Lunch Lady Doris from The Simpsons is always putting questionable ingredients into the pot while she cooks the children's school lunch. Some of the more disturbing things included horse testicles and a gym mat. Sadly, the kids in Springfield had to eat these things. In 2013, supermarkets in Europe were selling food in their supermarkets with labels that said beef, when it was actually horse meat. In 2011, in the United States, food bloggers reported that there was an ingredient in the McRib that was also found in yoga mats. The strange thing is that these stories broke several years after Lunch Lady Doris polluted Springfield Elementary School's food with horse meat and gym mats. Number 8. Stealing and selling grease. In a 1998 episode of The Simpsons called Lord of the Dance, Homer realizes that he can make money by stealing grease and then selling it. He even pulls Bart out of school to help out with the family business. The episode was considered to be very funny because the concept was so outrageous. In 2011, though, St. Louis police received reports that thieves were stealing used grease from restaurants and then reselling it. It isn't known the exact dollar amount the thieves made, however it is believed to be a multi-million-dollar business, and The Simpsons predicted it almost a decade earlier. Number 9. Flying Restaurant. In an episode of The Simpsons called Natural Born Kissers, Marge and Homer are going out to eat with their kids to a place called Up, Up and Buffet. It is a restaurant built inside of an airplane. The experience is meant to be so real that the Springfield restaurant even simulated turbulence. Next, fast forward to almost a decade later, there is an actual restaurant that is built on a plane in Colorado called the Airplane Restaurant. It is located in a repurposed Boeing, and it is large enough to hold 42 diners at a time. Number 10. The Tomaco. In an older episode of The Simpsons, Homer starts mixing crops and ends up creating a hybrid crop that is a mixture of tomatoes and tobacco. He calls them tomacos. While the fruit tasted gross, it was highly addictive. Next, jump to 2003, when a man named Rob Bauer decided to grow his own tomaco plant by grafting a tobacco root and a tomato stem. When the news broke, he got to meet the lead writer of The Simpsons, Ian Maxtone Graham. He even gave him one of his tomacos. Subscribe for more.